Hello all, it's James Johnson, aka Sulfur Blade. Welcome back to my channel, welcome back to my content, and welcome back to the game that really kind of made this channel anything at all, and that's War on the Sea. It is definitely, far and away, the most popular game on my channel. I've played War on the Sea just about every single campaign you can imagine. And now there's a new one. The Atlantic Campaign mod has released. That's what this background is. We're going to jump in. And we're going to try things as the Germans. This is going to be a very difficult campaign for me, I think, because if you've ever watched me in the past, I rely a lot on the aircraft carrier. And the Germans don't really have an aircraft carrier. They have some seaplane tenders, and not many of them. And those seaplanes are rather weak. They're good reconnaissance planes, but they're not exactly the best plane for taking out ships with. So my normal playstyle doesn't really exist with the Germans. So I'm gonna jump in and we're gonna see how this struggles. The settings for it, the enemy uses submarines, enemy uses aircraft carriers, so on and so forth. What are these? Yeah, we'll just leave it on realistic. That's fine. And new carrier aircraft requires release. No, that's fine. I like it just as is. So let's go ahead and start. The battle in the Atlantic. The U-boat offensive begins. With France defeated, Germany now turns its full attention to Britain. The island nation's survival depends on supply convoys from North America, and you hold the key to severing the lifeline. Command your U-boats and the Kriegsmarine surface force to unleash a relentless assault on the Atlantic, cutting off the vital resources that sustains Britain's war effort. As preparations for Operation Sea Lion accelerate, the Luftwaffe begins its assault on British forces and defenses. Your mission is to tighten the naval noose, ensuring that no aid reaches the British Isles. The fate of the coming invasion and ultimate victory depend on control of the seas. Alright, Wolfpack on the hunt. By mid-1940, German U-boats prowl the Atlantic in ruthless wolfpacks, striking convoys with devastating precision. Each ship sunk weakens the British fragile lifeline and brings the Reich closer to opening a path for invasion. While the Luftwaffe intensifies its bombing campaign over Britain, your U-boats must eliminate merchant and escort vessels alike. Every successful attack starves the British defenses of resources needed to repel Operation Sea Lion, excuse me. Victory within reach. With the U-boat offensive at its peak, the British supply lines in jeopardy, the path to invasion draws near. Every Allied ship sent to the depths weakens the British ability to defend its homeland. Control the Atlantic is the key to victory. With the seas secured, the British air defenses crumbling under the Luftwaffe assault, the stage is set for Operation Sea Lion and the final blow that will end the British resistance and bring the war in the West to a decisive conclusion. Right. This is our goals. With France on the so our home ports are Kiel, Wilhelmshaven, and La Rochelle. Most of the stuff can be spawned in Kiel and Wilhelmshaven. There's like only one. The Type 2 submarine is the only thing I can spawn in La Rochelle. You must disrupt Allied logistics and prepare for Operation Sea Lion by establishing a level 5 airfield in Southampton and Plymouth. Okay, disrupt Allied logistics. Prepare the way. So I need to capture Southampton and Plymouth and put level 5 airfields on them. So take control of Southampton and Plymouth. Reykjavik, implement Operation Icarus. The Azores, implement Operation Isabel. Or sink a total of 300 Allied ships, dealing a decisive blow to Britain's maritime lifeline. That's interesting. So I could just ignore all this and just sink 300 ships and the game will end? That's a very different way of doing it. Okay, logistics and resupply. Resupply your ship. Each warship requires 5 fuel, 5 engineering, and 50 supply, replacing lost aircraft. 2 fuel, 2 engineering, 10 supply. Maintain supply lines. Cargo ships and oilers unload in batches of 10 and 10 engineering. Sustain air operations. Weekly shipments of men and resources will flow to Brest, Le Havre, Calais, Brussels, Saint-Nazaire to represent wartime supply routes. Will flow to Brest, Calais, Brussels to represent wartime supply routes. So does that mean that instead of my resources going to my home ports, my resources are going to go to, this is Brest here. I think that's Le Havre, and that's Calais, and this is Brussels. And Saint-Nazaire. That must be Saint-Nazaire there, next to La Rochelle. Interesting. So instead of the stuff coming into the home ports, it's actually going to the non-home ports. That's going to throw a wrench into things, I think. Or it might make it easier for me. I won't have to actually I won't have to do logistics. The game is going to be doing the logistics for me, if that's the case. Alright, well, we'll see how this plays out. Okay, I've done a little bit of preparation to know exactly... This is the long part, right? Figuring out what it is you want to spawn, how you're going to initially get your things underway. Well, I've done a little bit of that off... Well, I've tested it, and I've got an idea of what I want, so I can make it go quickly. And I'll just be explaining what I'm doing. So I'm gonna start my primary little fleet here in Kiel, and the reason for Kiel is because it's got a large amount of supply and stuff. I'm gonna start off with the capital ship of this fleet is going to be the Lutzow. So let's go by German, head over this way. Okay, so the Lutzow, she's going to be escorted by 2 light cruisers, which is going to be the Nuremberg and the Leipzig. They, in turn, are basically going to be escorting these seaplane tenders. Where are they? Is this them? No. Here we are, the Schwabenland. Okay. They're not the greatest planes, but it's the best that we got to work with. Alright, these guys are going to be doing 16 knots, so they're going to be slowing these ships down a bit. There's 3 of them. We're going to put all 3 in this fleet. Then we're also going to make this kind of a bit of a resupply force, or a logistics force, if you will. What I plan to do is when I leave Kiel, I'm going to bring some logistics up here to Bergen. Then I'm going to sail this fleet around and out here, and I might end up using it to ferry stuff from La Rochelle to Brest. However, if the supplies and stuff are already going to Brest, I might not have to do that. So I might just have these guys sitting out here in the North Atlantic utilizing this air power to basically help my submarines know where everything is. Yeah, so kind of like a poor man's carrier task force out here. The best German equivalent I can come up with, I suppose. Alright, what else did we need? We need 1 oiler. So this Dittmar Shin here. 1 cargo ship. Frederick Carl. It's a 16-knot cargo ship. Is that it? No. This is it. And then the Brems, which is a DD. The reason we're going for the Brems is because it's got surface search radar. Fairly good surface search radar. Which, if we look here, 22 nautical miles of surface radar, 8 nautical miles of air radar. In fact, I think it's the only ship right now, other than the cruisers, the heavy cruisers, that have any air radar at all. So this will be a pretty useful ship for this fleet. And then we're throwing in a couple of these, I don't know, pseudo destroyers. They're kind of like a bit big to be torpedo boats, but a bit small to be destroyers. And those are these guys. 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Alright, that's going to be our first group. Done. We're going to call this Task Force Lutzo. We're going to adjust the formation. Oh yeah, this mod allows you to put up to 15 ships in a fleet. However, the formations seem to only still be set to 10 ships, which makes me wonder what's going to happen when I change formations. I didn't really actually test that last time around. I wanted to. I should have. But I am going to change this to a... What was it? No. Yeah, 2-column convoy? No, 3-column convoy. Yes. Okay, and at 1, 2, and 3, I want the Okay, 1, 2, and 3 is going to be the seaplane tenders. At 4 is going to be the oiler, because it's the only thing that doesn't have any gun on it at all. Doesn't even have AA guns, so it's the weakest ship of the group. So I want it at 4. 6 and 5. At 6, I'm gonna want the no, where are you? It's a Lutso. No. Undo that. Yeah, swap these guys around. So at 6 we have the cruiser, the Lutso. So the oiler, and on this side we want the cargo ship, which is at 5. Okay. The Nuremberg, which is cruiser, the light cruiser, we're going to swap over here. And is that the other light cruiser? I can't tell because of... I'm pretty sure it is. So, no, the Leipzig is the other light cruiser, right? Yeah. So that'll put a destroyer at 7, a destroyer at 8, a destroyer at 9, and a destroyer at 10. And the light cruisers are somewhere. I don't know where they're going to be, but they're light cruisers. They should be able to take care of themselves wherever they end up in this formation. Alright, so that's going to be the formation. Now let's go ahead and manage the cargo. We're starting at Kiel. Kiel, last I checked... Huh. I thought it had more than this the last time I started. Well, it'll have to do. Okay, manage cargo. On these big ships here, we're going to put engineering on them. The seaplane tenders are going to grab the engineering. The Deutsche Marchen is the oiler, so obviously it's taking the oil. The Frederick Karl is taking the remainder of the engineering. And then all the rest of the ships can take supply. Alright, so the fleets are now loaded. Now we're going to set a course. Up and around. Gonna zoom in nice and close here, and there we go. We're gonna take this stuff up to Bergen. Drop that off. I want to build up Bergen, and the reason for which is I noticed that Bergen is the only airfield that has these HE-115Cs. These HE-115Cs are the only plane in my existence that has torpedoes. So I want more of these. I think they're going to be useful. Thus, I need to build up the airfield here to get more of these planes that I think are going to be useful. So that's why that stuff is going there. Over here in Wilhelmshaven, we're going to start a new task force. It's going to be comprised of a couple of Type 7F submarines. Those are basically submarines designed to carry cargo. It should be this right here, right? Yeah. So we're going to grab 2 of these, 1, 2. Done. We're going to call this USW cargo. And we are going to manage cargo. We're going to load up supply on both of these. So that's 80 supply that these subs are going to take to the Azores. All right, and then these are, we need the Type 2s because that's the only thing we can spawn here in La Rochelle. And we're going to go with 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. I'm going to manage cargo on these guys. And we are going to load troops. Troops. Supply. Supply. And they are going to make their course out to La Rochelle. Once they drop that stuff off, they're going to then hunt in the Atlantic gap here. But they might as well take those troops over to the Azores. Those 34 men are going to capture the Azores, and they've got backup supply coming from Wilhelmshaven. Next, in La Rochelle, I want 2 more of the 2Cs. Are these 2Cs or are these 2Bs? Or are they just 2s? Why am I saying 2Cs? Those are tanks. Never mind. Alright, they're gonna head up over there. For now, that's all the ships I'm gonna start with. So I've got basically 4, 5, 6. I've got 8 subs, and I've got this crazy task force here with seaplane tenders. And that's how we're gonna start this whole shebang off with. Next, I need to get some airplanes flying. New air. I think I'm going to use these HE-111s as reconnaissance planes. So we'll start with one of these. Alright, that'll work. I'm going to use these Ju-88s here as reconnaissance planes as well. Alright, I'm going to go with this. The reason I like to use these is because the game doesn't mess these up. When I put in the manual ones, like this one here, see that break in the line? When I restart the game, I'm going to have to redo this because it won't carry over because of that break in the line. But this one, it'll work forever and ever and ever and ever, no matter if the game restarts or not. Which is sad, but just the way it is. Alright, we're gonna get the clock started. Okay, these places should be ready to launch again. Alright, when you take off the ordnance, it causes the airfield to be... when you have ordnance on planes, it shuts the airfield down for much longer. So your recon planes, you want to take the ordnance off them so your airfield doesn't get shut down. Not to mention, it also gives your planes more range to fly because they're not lugging around the ordnance. How close do I got these two here? Well, that'll work. Right, he's just gonna fly straight out and come straight back. Alright, speaking of which, let's slow. Launch aircraft. Alright. That should cover that fleet fairly well. Get me a little bit extra eyes in the North Sea. I'm limited on planes that I can really use, because I got to keep a lot of these planes here in case strategic bombing. So strategic bombing is active in this campaign, and it's certainly a worry. So yeah, less eyes in the sky because of that. This encounter at Brest, really? I want to be able to launch those other planes. I don't dare hit fast forward. Whoops. Manually fly these Ju-88s. We'll let the fighters do their fightery thing. Whoops. Come on, gunners. Open up. every aircraft is kind of vital at this point in time, so the fact that I've lost one of my BF-109s here kind of sucks. Get him! Got him! Very nice. This is the craziest air battle you've ever seen. Well, craziest air battle you've ever seen since the last time you watched me play. Because I'm the only type of person that would do this. Oh no, not my other 109. Damn it. Shoot, guys, shoot. sucks. Well, looks like 2 bombers are getting through. We down 3. So there's 3 getting through. Well, that's worse than I thought. Alright, currently we've got a 1-1 on Brest. So we'll see how bad it ends up. Or they're not going to bomb on Brest at all. They decided to give up, which is fine by me, actually. Yeah, I guess we must have repelled the attack on Brest. Alright, it's nighttime. This is very different than any campaign I've ever done before. Having this incredibly short distance between air bases. It's kind of like a no-fly zone and a no-sail zone. But the only thing I could think to sail through here is submarines, obviously. But sending surface ships through that? No. No way. Especially German surface ships. German surface ships are horrible for anti-air defense. Yeah, if I had some American cruisers, like some Atlantas and so on and so forth, New Orleans, a bunch of Atlantas and New Orleans, I would sail them right in here and throw up air support. If I was playing on the other side, that is. But I don't have any really good anti-air ships that I could throw up air support to, you know, use as bait in the channel. Not to mention that air battle wouldn't work so well for me, the player, because the AI doesn't play by the same rules as the player, where the player requires how many days is it I'm gonna need to basically recoup my losses here in Brest. Since there's 2 of those and 2 of those, I think it's going to take 2 days to recover the 4 planes, where the AI doesn't have that issue. The next day they just have all their planes again, I'm pretty sure. Hmm. That'll be their box forever and ever. Alright, we're getting pretty close to Bergen. We'll be able to unload. Probably unload now. Alright, everything's unloaded. Something like that. It's nighttime, so might as well kick it into overdrive. Okay, air operations are available. Still says day 1. I swear we've gone more than a day. Haven't we? Any planes resupplied yet? No. Do we have any supplies in Brest to resupply planes? There's no engineering, no fuel. I don't think we can resupply planes in Brest because of the lack of engineering and fuel there. Hmm. I wish I could spawn ships other than just the twos at La Rochelle. I'd like a torpedo boat at Brest, so I could use it to basically get bombed instead of the town. I know, it's a little gamey, but it works. I could probably do it with a submarine. I feel naked without my aircraft carriers. Nighttime is upon us once again. Is that going to be the only action in this episode? That air battle over Brest? I have a feeling that there's a lot of traveling going on. Probably a bunch of stuff coming from the US over here. Oh, hello. Four ships, maybe 2 merchant ships. Okay, what can we send out to prosecute that? Can these Ju-88s reach? Four 250s, 2 500-kilogram APs. It's like 350. So this is 1,000 pounds of bombs. This is 1,000 pounds of bombs, but we lose endurance. And this is 1,500. That would put us on the very edge. Alright, that gives us a little extra endurance. Let's mark it. If I can remember how to mark. T? No. Right. Here we are. got here? One ship. Maybe a destroyer escort, huh? Wonder if that's the same. Are pretty choppy. I'm not seeing anything right away. There we go. Merchant of some sort with a gun. Or, oh, that might be one of those flower Corvette things. And what's this one? So we got two of them. Remember how to play this? I haven't done this in so long, and these are not worth losing our bombers over, I don't think. But, I should probably try to identify them though. British ship. Was I right in the first place? I don't think so. Yeah, that's what it is. Tree class trawler. There's quite a few of them. What do they got? Of course, it's a dual purpose 4-inch gun, so it's capable of shooting me down, probably. Well, let's see if we can drop large bombs on very tiny ships from height, from altitude. This is like the worst of all situations. terrible we did on the droppings. Tried to drop on such tiny objects was never gonna go well. Got an RTV. Yeah, I think it's going to be a very uneventful first episode. We lost 4 planes, they lost 3. We attempted to drop on a couple of trawlers. I think of them as corvettes. I suppose trawlers and corvettes are about the same thing. Will this fleet end up paying off dividends when I get it down in here? I hope it does. It's a long sail to the Azores, evidently. They've been at it for 3 days now. Still haven't arrived. Anyway, this is probably we're gonna wrap up the first episode. This has been a different experience so far. This campaign feels very unusual. I don't know how else to put it. The proximity of our airfields to their airfields creates a very unique paradigm where you don't want to use your planes. Plus, the whole strategic bombing portion of this means we have to keep a bunch of our planes in reserve to stop the AI from bombing us into oblivion. At the same time, I don't have any aircraft carriers. I feel like I'm playing with both of my arms tied behind my back. All I have is submarines. And, well, really, we only have this test. Well, I didn't rename this, did I? USW Force 1. This will be USW Force 2. This is actually going to split up into two. It'll become USW 2 and USW 3. And I'll put, I don't know. They're gonna, you know, patrol out here in the North Atlantic. Hopefully catching some American shipping on the way across. Yeah, I haven't seen any British ships other than those couple of trawlers, which that makes sense. That's actually a good location for trawlers to patrol, because the only thing that's within range are big planes that drop big eggs. If I had dive bombers like some Stutkas, but these Stutkas would have to fly through this to get over there, and I don't want to do that. The Stutkas will end up getting shot down by fighters here. So if I had an airfield here and I could bring Stutkas from here over to here, that would be great. But I don't have an airfield there. I have an airfield here. Which, yeah. That's a good location for them to patrol. And of course they're using trawlers, which have ASW capacity, so they can hunt our subs. I have a feeling that there's going to be lots of little groups of trawlers out around the British Isles. And there's probably, who knows what's coming from the United States. Maybe an aircraft carrier squadron might be heading across? I don't know what to expect. I have no idea what to expect. All I know is I feel like I certainly don't have the meat and potatoes to land in Britain anytime soon. And I don't feel like I'm going to get there anytime soon. I just... There's not enough fighters around here. You know, that's a whole 6 109s. Here we have another, not even 109s. It's like a slap in the face. We lost our 2 109s that were there. They're not there anymore. Brussels has 110s, which, you know, aren't 109s. Is there... Yeah, so we got about a dozen 109s to work with here. It's just not enough. When the Brits more than likely have, you know, Spitfires. They probably have a lot of Spitfires. I don't feel like we can win the air war anytime soon, especially with how the air war works in the CPU's favor and hinders the player's favor. Because yeah, I still don't have these planes back in Brest because I don't have any engineering and fuel over here to repair the planes that were lost here. So yes, many problems. Many problems indeed. But hey, it's a new campaign. It's the beginning. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, I'm James Johnson, aka Softwareblade. This is my content. Hopefully you're enjoying it. If so, please smash that like button. Consider subscribing. And until the next time, all, peace